So today we're going to make this quilt top. It is a stained glass. I did a poll and this is what you guys wanted to see. This is just one section of it. You could do just this and make a wall hanging or a baby blanket. You choose. Or if you stay to the end of the video, you'll be able to see what it looks like when I made two of these panels and put them together. There will be a link in the description for the printed pattern if you would like a printed pattern. So let's get started. So for this quilt, this stained glass, you're going to need 14 different fabrics. I am using from Sandra Smith Vibrant Life. It is with the color work line. And then that was a 10-pack of fat quarters. And then I just found 4 more fat quarters to kind of go with it. So you need 14 fat quarters. And then you'll need black. Here is the list of cutting instructions per color. I'll give you a few seconds so you can be able to screenshot that, or you can pause it to be able to cut. If you're a person that wants a paper pattern, I will link that in the description below. So I already have each of my fabrics cut out, and then I have them labeled. That way I'm not confused when I'm putting this quilt together. This quilt is done in sections. I recommend that you lay out all the pieces per section, including the sashing, which is in this bag here. We're going to start with the first section. So we're going to do this in sections. The first section, you're going to take your fabric 4. And they're 4.5 inches wide. You need one that's 9 inches long and then 13.5. And then this is fabric 3. That's 4.5 by 13. And we're going to stitch them together. And so you're going to have your 1 inch by 4.5 sashing that's going to go in between these layers, and that's going to be section 1. You want to press in between, and you want to press toward the sashing. You're going to do a 1/4 inch seam. And there is our first section. And we're going to set that aside and work on section 2. Okay, for section number 2, you're going to need from fabrics 1 and 2, your 9-inch squares. And then from fabric 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're going to need 4.5 inch squares. And then you're going to need your sashing to go in between. So what I would do is do your squares first, and then we're going to lay those and sew to your big squares. Make sure you press in between toward the sashing. And so I am pulling from the right side of each row so I know, and I'm working my way up the section I have laid out. Make sure you lay them back in the order, and because you have everything marked, it will be easy to lay back down. And now we're going to sew these strips onto the squares. So I'm going to lay it back out here. And I'm making sure to put the sashing on the top of these blocks, so then I know when I sew them together and then lay them out in order. Set the seam, press it toward the sashing, and lay it back out. Then stitch it together. And keep working until you have all of them stitched into one big rectangle. And there is section 2. We are going to set that one aside and do section 3. Hello and welcome. I am Jackie with Jackie Russell Creates, where we talk about everything quilting, sewing, and embroidering. I give tips, tricks, and techniques for that next sewing project. So if you like this video so far and like learning how to make a stained glass quilt, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know the next time that I upload a video. And if there is a quilt that you would like for me to demonstrate, comment in the description or in the comment section below and let me know, and I'll work on it for you. Now let's finish up this quilt top. So now we are on section 3. You're going to need fabric white, or 5, not white, fabric 5. It is cut at 18.5. You're going to need 6, 8, 9, and 10. That are your 4.5 squares. And then you're going to need number 2, which is your 9-inch square. We're going to start by sewing these 4 together. And then we're also going to sew this sashing onto the blue and this sashing onto our number 5 fabric. Then we're going to sew this block to this block, this square or rectangle to that rectangle, and then we're going to add a sashing along the bottom. Make sure you lay it back out in order when you're done pressing, so you know that it's in the right space. And there is section 3. We'll set that aside and do section 4. Here we are for section 4. Got lots of little pieces. So first you're going to need fabric 3 is your square, big square. You're going to need 7 and 9 to go beside it. Underneath it you're going to need 11, 6, and 12. And it's going to be in 2 sections, so that's going to be one section, and this is going to be another, and then we're going to stitch them together. So for the bottom half, you're going to need 9, 10, and 7, 14, and 10 again, and then this is fabric 1. So how I would accomplish or conquer this one, I would sew these 2 and these 2 together first, and then sew those 3 together. Then sew these smaller sections to your big square, then sew these long strip onto this, and then sew the 2 sections together. Now we're going to start at the other section. That is the first section of section 4. So now we're going to work on section 5 and section 6. They're really easy. You need to have fabric 4 and fabric 9 for section 5. And it's real simple. We're just going to add the sashing there. For 6, you're going to need fabric 5, and we're just going to add sashing to the top, and then we're going to assemble this thing. So there is section 6 and section 5. Now let's get this all laid out and sewn together. Okay, here we have it kind of laid out. We have section 1 over here. This is section 2. This is section 3, section 4, section 5, and then section 6 is down here. Now what we need to do is we need to attach section 5 to section 4. Then you're going to take this section and attach it to 3. You're going to attach 1 and 2 together and then attach that to section 6. So then you'll have this section here and this section here, and we can combine those together before we add the border. So there is this one section. I'm going to get some more thread and finish sewing this together. Now we're going to make a border, and I'm taking the extra pieces that is in the cut list that we didn't use in the top and kind of making a scrappy border. And we're doing it with the 2.5 inches, and we're also using the sashing in between to continue the stained glass effect. So I have this laid out, and we're just going to sew like we did the top, you know, with this on one side, so it's all the way through, and then we're going to attach it to the side of our quilt top. We have Sugar May Supervisor. Sugar May, making sure it's all sewn the right way. So we are going to press toward the stashing as we sew. Now we're going to attach it to our quilt top. And I'm going to pin the corner. And these are the only seams that you have to line up are these first ones on your side, so it lines up with the other black seam. So I'm going to line those up first. And I'm going to do that on both ends of the quilt top. You may have to switch the direction of one of your seams to make sure that they nestle nicely in there. And then if you have watched my channel for any length of time, you know I like to find the center to make sure that everything is lined up. So I just fold it in half, holding the corners, put my finger in the center of the quilt top and the border that I'm adding, or the binding, or not binding, sashing. Find the center, and then I'm going to put a pin in there. And then I work in sections. Pinning, I'm going to go from one section to the other, from the center to the corner, and just pin just to help keep it lining up. You can put as many pins as you want here, making sure that the edges are lined up so we don't have no holes or gaps in there. And now you're just going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it 1/4 inch. So here is the quilt top. You can leave it just like this and put a black border around it, or you can do what I'm going to do, and I am going to make a whole nother one and rotate it so it's 47 inches wide and 70 inches long or so. But you can leave it just like this and bind and quilt it as you prefer. Add a baby blanket or a wall hanging. So what I'm going to do is add a black strip of the sashing down this one side, and then I'm going to create a whole nother one and add it on. I'm going to do that off camera because you already seen this, but I'll be back to show you what it looks like before I quilt and bind it. So here is my finished quilt top. So this is what we started with. And I made a second one and just attached it. So now I have a longer quilt top. You can finish it however you like. I'm going to hand stitch it, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know when I upload that video of me hand quilting this. in the meantime, there is a video coming up on screen now that YouTube feels that you may like, or there's a playlist right here so you can go see other full quilt tutorials. So until then, happy quilting, my friends.